Welcome to the AI Files Podcast, your ultimate destination for staying updated on all things artificial intelligence. Here we dive into the latest developments in the AI world, sharing insights from the corporate landscape. We also bring guests to share their unique perspectives. Today is going to be a special episode. This will be the last episode in 2024. So we'll see everybody after this in 2025. Just as a reminder, I'm Jamie Basilico, co-host of the AI Files. As a data and AI technical specialist and architect, I bring over 35 years of experience in the data-related and AI fields, having worked with many Fortune 500 companies throughout my career. Again, just a reminder, please note this is not an official Microsoft channel. The views and opinions expressed by myself as well as my co-host, Shazam, who, by the way, is not with us today, are our own viewpoints and do not represent the views of Microsoft. So with that, let's dive in. Definitely, like I said, this is going to be a somewhat condensed episode for today, but nonetheless, there's a lot of good stuff to go through. I'll start off with the quote of the week, which is usually done by Shadab. But this one was actually by President-elect Donald Trump. This past week, just to put this in context, he revealed some of his team around technology, which obviously relates to AI, and the policies that they make up. So his quote from earlier last week actually was, "Together we will unleash scientific breakthroughs, ensuring America's technical dominance and usher in a golden age of American innovation." So that's a lot of great words there. Hopefully all that is true, which we'll see over the next couple of years. But going back to my comment around the policy and at least the team that he's putting together, there's several different people that he's announced. One was David Saxon. This was a little while ago. He's, for all intents and purposes, quote unquote, the AI and cryptos czar. He is a venture capitalist by nature and is a former PayPal executive. So you probably have heard of him before. So Sachs is actually tasked with developing a set of comprehensive legal frameworks for the cryptocurrency industry, and also would chair the President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology. Basically, he's one of the top on that list. And another one that was announced is, and I might mess up his last name, but Michael Kratsios. He's actually served previously in the Trump administration during Trump's first term as the Chief Technology Officer, and later became a managing director at Scale AI. But he's nominated to lead the Office of Science and Technology, and obviously, corporate America loves acronyms, as does the U.S. government. So that office is actually called the OSTP. But in this role, Michael will work closely with Sachs to advance the administration's technical agenda, and obviously that's pretty wide and vast. Also announced was Dr. Lynne Parker, former deputy CTO under Trump in the first term of Trump, and is a founding director of the National Artificial Intelligence Innovation Office. She's been appointed the executive director of the President's Council of Advisors for Science and Technology. Yeah, that's a mouthful. But basically, she'll support Michael Kratsios in steering the nation's science and technology policies. So obviously with her background in artificial intelligence, that's going to be a key role. Last but not least is Bo Hines. Some folks might remember him from a former college football player, but also he ran for a Republican congressional seat in North Carolina, at least was a candidate for it. But he's set to become the executive director for the Presidential Council of Advisors for Digital Assets, basically commonly known as the Crypto Council. So this will actually he'll operate underneath David Sachs, and he'll focus on the oversight and development of these digital asset policies. So, I don't know about you, but I definitely follow Bitcoin very closely. So, these are going to be the things that I myself will be very interested in to see how embracing or adopting this administration or the next one that's coming in will be around the crypto. So overall, all these different appointments just underscore the incoming administration's commitment to, positioning the United States on the forefront of technical advancements and innovation, which again ties back to the quote of the week, where I mentioned already, it's Trump's vision is to really focus on scientific breakthroughs, ushering in America's dominance in this field. So hopefully that comes to fruition. So, in other news, other than just the AI team, if you will, for President-elect Trump, Salesforce actually unveiled a new Agentforce 2.0, and the focus really around this is increasing the out-of-the-box capabilities of Agentforce. So there's more integration. So this is actually set to launch in February 2025. And the real focus again is on pre-built skills, which is really designed to enhance the sales team productivity. There have been some early adopters. Again, this is not slated to be released until February of next year in 2025. But already the early adopters are Accenture, IBM, as well as the Indeed, the company for job searching. So they're all testing on the early platform. Like I said, the big thing here is on these AI skills, and I'll get to that in a minute. But there is some, I guess I'll call it an early preview before the February piece, where there's going to be some integration with Slack. So that might be if you're a Slack user or an organization that uses Slack, you'll be able to get at least some users to access these AI sales assistant skills ahead of the full release, which is in February. So I've been mentioning the skills. Like I said, this is the big push for Agentforce 2.0. But there's going to be this pre-built skills library, and the skills library is going to cut across various different tasks. Things obviously within Salesforce in terms of CRM, there's that Slack integration that I already talked about, Tableau, as well as partner developed skills in their app exchange, which will allow for rapid customization and deployment of these various different agents. So on the CRM side, some of these skills are going to be focused around sales development coaching. So skills for nurturing leads and providing instant feedback based upon sales interactions, which obviously will help sales teams improve the performance at scale. There will also be some marketing and commerce skills, which is, again, focused on managing marketing campaigns as well as in the commerce activities. And that's really all around, again, enhancing the customer engagement and the operational efficiency of those teams. There will be some other skills as well that focus around service and field work. And this is, scheduling skills for service engagements as well as field service workers, improving the coordination and response times, obviously, in the things that they do. I mentioned some of the partner side. So this is where MuleSoft integration comes in. So this is going to offer enhanced integration with MuleSoft, which is really all about creating low-code workflows that will span various different systems, leveraging MuleSoft's existing integration capabilities. So this will just enhance what the Agentforce agents can actually do. Last but not least, I mentioned Slack already. So there's going to be new Slack actions built into the agent builder inside of Agentforce, and this will allow sending direct messages or updating Slack canvases. And again, it's all about enhancing the collaboration and communication within those Slack teams. One thing that I found somewhat interesting, and maybe you could chuckle the same way that I did on this. If you think about what Agentforce is supposed to do, Agentforce is supposed to reduce the burden on sales teams, and in some cases, obviously, if you're building agents, maybe reduce those sales teams. But Salesforce is planning to hire 2,000 employees to promote and support their AI sales agent, aka Agentforce 2.0. So there's some irony, obviously, in that, hiring more people to sell something that is supposed to help selling. I still believe you obviously need people to do jobs and tasks. So no different here. So we'll see more people being hired on into Agentforce to be able to sell those tools. Stepping into a big announcement. And again, I'm putting these under the broad premise of news, and you'll see and understand why in a second. So if you've been following OpenAI's shipments, the 12 days of shipments or shipping new capabilities, or at least releasing or announcing them. There was a major announcement last week. I think it was Thursday or Friday, either the 19th or 20th. I'm forgetting the actual date, but just a couple days ago, 4 or 5 days ago. And the big announcement there is a new reasoning model. So the first day of shipments actually announced the O1 models becoming generally available, both the O1 and O1 Mini. But on the last day of shipments, what they announced to everybody was O3. So we started out the shipments with the O1 model and going GA, and now we've got a totally brand new model. So OpenAI, as I just mentioned, unveiled its latest AI model dubbed O3, which really makes significant strides in advancements in artificial intelligence capabilities around reasoning. This model far exceeds complex reasoning tasks, even blowing away what O1 was able to do. And the benchmarks are there in terms of the scores, and at least highlighting the capabilities of this new AI platform for its solving or capabilities in solving various different tasks. So much like the O1 model came in two different forms or variants, so does the O3 model. So OpenAI, during this last day of shipments, announced the O3 and O3 Mini. Obviously, the latter is more of a lightweight version designed to balance out output quality with the faster response times and obviously a lower cost to do that. So what's interesting, and again, maybe a little chuckle on this one, is the O3 model. Like, what happened to O2? You might be saying, because you have O1 that started out with shipments, and now we've got O3. Actually, if anyone is listening from across the pond in the UK, you're probably familiar with the telephone or mobile carrier O2. So OpenAI didn't want to infringe on any copyright or naming trademarks, so they went straight to O3. So that aside, with naming, call it whatever you want, it definitely is a breakthrough, and in that breakthrough, what is the major difference here? So if anyone is familiar or maybe not familiar, there is many different benchmarks, and you probably heard of the MMLU for the reasoning the language understanding benchmarks. Well, there is a different benchmark for these reasoning models, and it's called the ARC AGI. Again, AGI, Artificial General Intelligence Benchmark. The O1 model, and let me just bring this up, and you can see the scores, and I'll explain more about this. But this benchmark is basically the gold standard in whether or not we've achieved AGI, and this has been around for a couple of years. But if you look at what I'm showing you on the screen here in this chart, the O1 Mini and O1 Preview, that was pretty low in this chart in terms of less than 25%. Actually, the O1 Mini was 7%, and the Preview was 12. Jumped that to like the GA, and it's still relatively low. I mean, we're talking about anywhere between, and this is with the full O1 model, anywhere between 20 and 32%. That's woefully low. That's nowhere near AGI. But if you look at the O3 models, and this is against the O3, not the O3 Mini, and I'll talk about some of these differences here because it relates to the cost to doing a task. But the efficient run, which basically means not using as much horsepower to complete a task, came in at 70, I think it was 75%. I'll get the actual number in a second, but the highly tuned one came in at 87 point, I think it was 87.5 or 80.7.6. Actually, here's the numbers right there. 85 points, 75.7 for the low end model, or sorry, the low end amount of compute, and close to 87.5. It's listed here as 88 for the high end tuned model. This is a huge jump. I mean, if you look at where the O1 model, again, which was just released, in the 20 to 30 range, and this jumps to a much higher, anywhere between 75 and um, 80, 87.5. What's important to look at here is the cost per task. So if you, well, in the show notes, we'll provide all of this information about um, more about this benchmark. But a human to do the same task that was asked of this model is able to do it roughly for $5 a task. If you notice here, the task for the um, the the low end or the low end compute O3 model is coming in roughly somewhere around $20 a task, which is still a lot higher. I mean, we're talking that's 5 times, or sorry, 4 times as much as a human to do a task. So certainly not cost efficient. But that's the low end compute. To get the higher um, capability of the O3 model, what was actually done there was provide more horsepower, more compute. And if you notice where that cost is, it's way above $1,000. So $5 for a human, and human is at top score, and O3 model, more than $1,000 to run that single task. So obviously, the cost capability is not there yet, but from where we started with O1 just literally last week, to where we are today with this experimental model with O3, greatly improved for obvious capabilities. I'll leave this up as I talk about the rest. So again, huge, huge jumps or gains here. As I said, there's a high compute performance mode, and this is basically just throwing a lot at it. So the high efficiency score was achieved. There's actually a limit with this ARC AGI benchmark, and it should go no more than a 10,000 compute limit. So when you look at the breakdown in tasks and what it was able to achieve, like I mentioned before, it was in that $20 range roughly. What's really different here is the O3 represents a shift in AI, and it's really about the ability for these models to adapt to tasks that it's never encountered before, which again is approaching human level performance in the ability to do these ARC tests. By the way, the ARC test for a human to do is really simple. You could read more about this ARC test. So it's not like a math problem, so to say, where you got to throw a lot of sophisticated logic behind it. This is how does the human brain actually think, and that's why it's so difficult for these systems to be able to achieve that AGI. But this is definitely as close as it came. Just one little note on this as well. Future directions of this ARC AGI. There is going to be a new ARC AGI released in 2025. And it's meant to push the boundaries of what various different companies in terms of aligning their tests to these various different benchmarks. By the way, when you look at, and I'll scroll down a little bit here in the things that you're looking at, there are other pieces of information. They give the breakdown. You can see some of these retail costs. The things that you're looking at in terms of the scores, it is based upon there's different data sets, public data sets, semi-private, and the costs associated with that. And you can see the cost per task here. So using the semi-private set, they were able, OpenAI was able to get down to a $20 cost per task. But using the public set had a higher retail cost. So obviously going with the lower cost. And they do a whole breakdown of is this AGI? And by the way, it's not there yet, at least in my interpretation of is the O3 model AGI. Came pretty darn close, to be honest with you. So we'll see what happens over the next 12 to 18 months, if that is something maybe that might be deemed as getting to AGI. Anyway, so that is the OpenAI releases, if you will, or at least the last thing on the shipments with the O3. By the way that OpenAI kind of brought this out, and this is probably one thing I probably should have mentioned as well. This is still not mass released. You actually have to go through a a sign on to fill out a form. This is really only being given out to safety testing right now. So if you're looking at just, hey, I want to use this model, you can't. That's number one. And then you do have to get basically go through a vetting process based upon what you're looking to do with this. But as I just mentioned, it's being focused on safety research in terms of using a model as powerful as O3. So with that, let's get into some of the launches. So Meta, and this is hopefully going to be on my underneath the Christmas tree for me, but Meta has a partnership with Ray-Ban for smart glasses. So they released the new software update. It's actually called version 11. So what this does is it significantly enhances the smart glasses with this new software. So it introduces advanced AI capabilities. So it puts more power in the hands of the people that are actually using them. So what this brings is a couple of different things. One, it brings in real-time translation, not only for English, Spanish, French, and Italian. So it allows users to engage in multilingual conversations more seamlessly. Obviously, think about things that you could actually visually see and then be able to do translation. I guess this is somewhat interesting. On the next one, there's integration with Shazam, which is a music song recognition tool. So it helps identify and track, or helps identify tracked songs with just a simple voice command that the glasses will pick up. And I said before, these are going to be introduced with early access program. The broader availability of this update will be expected soon. Soon might be January, February. So overall, this certainly positions Meta way ahead in terms of the wearable tech space. And there's obviously competitors. Google is in this space with their projects. The somewhat related is Project Astra and Android XR. But this certainly brings Meta into more of the forefront in terms of these classes. I don't really see anybody as close, certainly, to what they're doing or delivering. Last but not least for today is Google. So this was just released a few days ago as well. Let me get actually something ready and up, because I'm going to do a demo of what I'm about to talk about here in a second. So let me not bring it up just yet, because I don't want to spoil the fun. So Google announced a new model underneath the 2.0 Flash realm. Basically, in my opinion, they didn't want to be outdone by OpenAI with OpenAI's recent, general availability of the O1 model, let alone the O3 model. But I guess maybe a drum roll here. What Google unveiled is the Gemini 2.0 Flash thinking model. Basically, it's their reasoning model to coincide with OpenAI's O1 model. So as I just mentioned, this is a multimodal reasoning model, helped or model that was really designed to tackle complex problems. And they're doing it with this balance between speed and transparency. The transparency one is a interesting piece, and I'll show you what I mean by that in a minute. So this model offers stronger reasoning capabilities, obviously, over the other Flash versions, and it supports up to 32,000 tokens of input, as well as 8,000 tokens on output. What's the interesting thing here, as I just kind of alluded to, is the transparent decision making. So unlike its competitors like OpenAI, Gemini, this Gemini 2.0 Flash thinking model actually allows users to see the step-by-step reasoning that this model is actually using. So this might quell the concerns around the proverbial black box. So you could kind of peer into the reasoning thoughts that this model is using. As I mentioned before, it's multimodal, so it can both process text and images, which makes it versatile in various different use cases. Whatever they may be. It could be a puzzle. It could be analyze the spreadsheet and come up with some contextual uh, reasoning behind that image. So the early tests actually showed that this model performs pretty well, and its ability to do that, also doing it at a fairly lower cost, is certainly of importance. You could use this in two ways. You could use it through the Vertex AI from a developer standpoint, or you could use it through the Google AI Studio. And obviously, this puts Google into the competitive in the competitive arena now, with the likes of reasoning models against OpenAI, and there's other models that are looking at reasoning as well. There's a couple of models that came out of China recently. With that, let me actually show you. Let me show you what this looks like. Like I said, the transparent piece, or the transparency to see in the black box, I think is probably one of the cooler parts of this. So let me share this with you now. So actually, I'm kind of hiding a little bit of my prompt. Let me show you the prompt, and I'll kind of go into the other mode so you can see a little bit better. So other than being a storm enthusiast and chasing storms, I certainly like to go to the casino every once in a while. So I thought, why not? Let's use a prompt that this model needs to reason over. So if you could see my prompt, if not, I'll read it out loud. Again, think of this as a casino. You may want to try this with other combinations, but I said, here's my prompt. If I'm playing blackjack at a casino, if I'm showing a 5 and a 6 and the dealer shows a 6, what are the odds I'll win if I double down? So there's a couple of things in here. This is obviously playing blackjack. Obviously, to get the whole thought behind blackjack is to get 21. And if you have an 11, 11 is a great hand if you're the player, to double down. Double down basically means you could double your bet. And if a dealer shows 6, all likelihood is that they'll probably bust, and a dealer needs to hit on anything below 17. So that's Blackjack 101. Go read on the internet if you want to learn more. So this is the prompt that I'm going to give this reasoning model. So let me jump in and actually show you here. So there's a couple of things that, if I look at the run settings, this is where I picked the Gemini 2.0 flash thinking experimental model. Again, this is experimental. If you're using this, at least right now, no cost of using it through here, at least through the UI. So that's where I pick. Obviously, you can look at the token count and the temperature, things that you change. So here is where I am going to have it run. So here's the thinking part that I mentioned. So if I expand the thinking, this is the actual chain of thought that this model is going through. It says, all right, here's the breakdown of the thought process to answer the blackjack double down odds question. So it's going through all the things. All right, identify the core question. User wants to know what the probability of winning, recognizing the rules. I kind of gave you the blackjack 101, but it's going through what those rules are, thinking about what my hand is, thinking about the dealer hands, what are the outcomes, estimating how do I go about estimating probabilities, what are those probabilities. So it goes on and on and on and on. And then here's the response. The response says, all right, let's break down the odds. Why do you want to double down? Estimating the odds of winning, blah, blah, blah. I could jump all the way to the end. But basically, here's the conclusion. Why we can't give you an exact percentage without having the knowledge of the specific game condition, double down. With an 11 against a dealer 6 is a statistically statistically advantaged play. You have a good chance of proving your hand on a strong total, and the dealer has a high risk of busting. So you're more likely to win than lose in the scenario. So basically, it said, yeah, I would love to have this as a companion if I'm really playing blackjack. Probably get thrown out of the casino, but this just shows you what this model is capable of. But more importantly, like I said, it's peering into that black box of how it's coming up with the thoughts and reasoning behind the use of that model. So to me, that this is definitely very interesting, or a very interesting next step in terms of what these reasoning models can or can't do. So it'll be quite interesting to see what OpenAI and some of the other competitors may do in a response to what this Google Flash 2.0 thinking model is able to do. So anyway, I'll leave you with that. Thank you again for listening and following along with the journey that we have for the AI files. Shanab and I will be back, stronger than ever come in 2025. And like I said before, we've got a couple of the lab snackables out there. We'll be definitely producing more. And we'll be looking to create small little snippets as well from these longer episodes so that you can consume them. I know we've heard some of that feedback from folks, and we'll definitely be looking to produce that type of content for you in 2025. So with that, have a happy holidays if you're listening to this right now. Otherwise, maybe have a happy and safe new year, and we'll see you in 2025.